The following program is a public access production of Ward O'Hara Agricultural and Country Living Museum, who assumes full responsibility for its content. The content of this program does not represent the views of Auburn Regional Media Access, which serves as a forum for community expression and offers TV training, production facilities, and channel time to all Auburn area residents and organizations.
How many of you guys know everything there is to know about the Declaration of Independence? Every person in this room was taught something about the Declaration of Independence. True or false? True. True, right? So, I'm going to change your opinion, hopefully. And if you notice, I'm a PowerPoint master, as you can tell here. I love this stuff. I got 1776, but I got what behind it? Question mark. Because I hate to disillusion anybody. First of all, there is no Santa Claus. And the second thing is, it didn't occur on July the 4th, 1776. But you can look at any grade school, probably Vince Shaw taught me that back 1,000 years ago at Wheat Sport Tech, that the Declaration of Independence. Robin, you going to back me up on this? We were classmates, Rich. That this is when it happened. Well, maybe. However, you have to, any good lecturer starts off with a test. Okay? So here's your test. Y'all ready? Who's the most famous Revolutionary War veteran in Cuyahoga County? Weller, you be quiet. You be quiet. Which is going to be hard to do. Who's the most famous Revolutionary War veteran in Cuyahoga County? Hardenberg? Second. That's it? You guys only know one? Okay. Well, I'm going to give you some hints. Hey, can you dim the... Oh, do you need the lights on? Yeah, you probably do, don't you? Okay. Can you guys see the screen okay? Yeah. All right, very good. This help? Can you guys even see who it is? Does this help? No. Does this help? Say what? Is he the most famous Revolutionary War veteran in Cuyahoga County? Does this help? Shh. How many people saw the movie Drums Along the Mohawk? How many people would still watch it if it was on television tonight? So being here with me, what? You put your hand up. I saw you do it. Okay. Do you know who he portrayed in the movie?
Helmer. Andrew. Adam Helmer.
You're close. You got an A. Adam Helmer. Cuyahoga County. Really? What did he do? What did this guy do? When St. Ledger, British commander, of course you all know that, when he came down from Oswego in the three-pronged attack on Albany, St. Ledger came down with Cuyahoga and Seneca Indians, and they came right down the Oswego River. They turned left at Three Rivers, and they headed east down the Mohawk River. We call it Seneca River here in Cuyahoga County, the Mohawk River, okay? And when they got down there, Helmer was sent to warn the other fort. And he did a run. How far was his run? Say 40 miles. 40 miles. He ran 40 miles. He didn't walk. Here's the key word. Well, there was about 1,000 Mohawks chasing him, which would probably help a little bit. You know, it'd give a little bit of impetus to do this run. Why is he in Cuyahoga County? Mr. Weller, you can give this answer.
He was given part of Route 66.
Not 66.
See this sign right here? This is a state historical marker. It's on Cottle Road in the town of Brutus. Don't you farm up on Cottle Road area? Yeah, that is your area. Okay. He's buried there. he's not buried there. But he's buried there. New York State says he's buried there. One of the guys that you have who comes here for regular meetings is a man by the name of R. Dennis Randall. Any of you guys know R. Dennis Randall? Yeah. You know what R. Dennis Randall did with his family? They dug him up in the middle of the night and they moved him into the Wheatsport Cemetery. So if you go down to Fort Hill, you know, there in the corner, you'll see a grave for Adam Helmer and his wife. But New York State still says he's buried there. Well, don't look too hard because you won't find him if you try to. If you guys can read, or I mean, if you like reading, there's a very good book written by a guy from Fairhaven, New York. It's called A Musket and Tomahawk. And he goes into great detail on Helmer's run. It's very, very ginormously famous. And if you look on page 11 of the book, you'll see my name mentioned for the next 5 pages. So please buy it. I get a discount every time if somebody does, okay? Guys, everybody knows history. My favorite president of all time is Abraham Lincoln. I call myself a Lincoln scholar. And Lincoln made the famous phrase, "History is not history unless it's the truth," which helps a lot. I don't know if you know this or not, the state of Texas recently had legislation that says from now on, when you teach in school, you have to tell the truth. They had to make it legislation to tell the truth, okay? So pseudo-history is that history that everybody in this room has grown up with, but it's simply not the truth. Sometimes it's malicious, sometimes it's unavoidable, it's inadvertent, it's a whole different group of words to it, but the most type of pseudo-history occurs with history, okay? And that's the unfortunate thing. And unfortunately for us, the 2 biggest time periods of pseudo-history in the history of the United States is the Revolutionary War. What would be the second one? Spot on, the American Civil War. Don't read half of what you believe, okay? Because it's just not true. Who's this dude? What did Paul Revere do on that midnight ride? He ran through the town screaming,
The regulars are coming.
baloney. I was going to say another word, but unfortunately I'm being taped, okay? And my spouse might watch this. What nationality was he in 1775?
English.
British, right? So that would be like him driving through the streets of Owasco, screaming out at midnight, "The Americans are coming." Okay? And they go, he's crazy. We're all Americans, aren't we? He never said it. You know when that showed up? When that first was coined? The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere?
Longfellow.
Who? What?
Longfellow.
Longfellow. Longfellow wrote a poem. And you know what he wrote the poem for? Not the Revolutionary War. He wrote it for the pending Civil War. It was a propaganda poem. And he said in this poem, "The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere." Okay, Revere did ride, but there was 4 people total. Revere got captured 3 miles into the ride. He didn't quite make it all the way. Okay? Pseudo-history. But unfortunately, that's what we have. So, what do you guys know about the document and the events that lead up to this small d, later big D, Declaration of Independence? You all know we're kind of mad at a guy. This man's King George. This is King George III of England. That's my English accent, by the way. I'm bilingual, in case you didn't know that. Okay. He's really German. He's not English at all. He's German, but hey, I can't speak German, so we'll leave it at that. We're mad at this guy because we have petitioned His Majesty several times to give us representation in Parliament. You guys know the history of George? Anybody? Nobody? Say what? Who said that? Who said that? Who said it? Come on. Who said it? I heard the word crazy. I want to know who said it. Oh, you said it too? Well, I heard it over here. Okay. I'd rather hear your voice than his anytime. So he was certifiably crazy. He wasn't just a little bit crazy. He was the toll crazy. Do you know for 3 years in his reign, for 3 years, they had him chained to a bed. 3 years he wasn't allowed to get out of said bed because he was... There you go. You think we got some bad ones. He's crazy, okay? We petition him, and he doesn't want to listen to us. He says, nope, I'm not talking to you guys. I am your representative in Parliament. And that's all you need, and that's all you're going to get. So you all know the story. There's a group of guys. They get together. They're formed by John Adams and Sam Adams, the beer maker. They're formed by John Hancock and a whole bunch of other guys. And they're called Minutemen, right? So on the night of April 19th, or actually the day of April 19th, they all get a cell phone call. Hey, get your musket and get over here to Lexington right now because the British troops are coming down the road. Somewhere in the neighborhood of around 70 Minutemen show up on Lexington Green. Here comes 10 times that number, 700 British regulars, who is the most powerful army on the planet at that time. And they stand there. We don't know who fires the first shot. Shots get fired. Somewhere in the neighborhood of 18 colonials. We're not Americans, so I can't use that term, even though we're called Americans. How do we get the name America?
America Vespucci.
Oh, man, you're getting a little too smart for yourself, okay? That's 3 answers now, and you're starting to annoy me.
He's a history teacher.
Oh, is he? Well, he won't be long if he keeps talking. Okay? I got my hitman just showed up. Sitting right there, the white hair and the shirt back there. You got your gun with you? We might need it. Hi, Tommy. So what happens is the British go, we got him. They run. They go on to Concord, right? Waiting for them somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,000. Because now the phones weren't going off the first time, and there are about 1,000 guys show up. They fire shots. The British turn, walk away, where they ran into somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000 more Minutemen. And the British Army got devastated, just got absolutely devastated, okay? It's called the shot heard round the world, right?
Yeah.
You all heard that. What does that mean? You can, don't. What does it mean, the shot heard around the world? My students all say, well, they heard the battle. It's not. No. The shot is a pseudonym for the actions reverberated around the world, because for the first time, people are fighting not for power, not for gold, not for this or that, but fighting for what? Freedom, the right of self-government. First time in the history of the planet. Okay? That's what it means by the shot heard around the world. Matter of fact, there it is right there. The shot heard around the world. Were we at war? We're shooting at each other. Were we at war? Yes or no? Yes or no? Come on, hurry up. I haven't got all night. What do you mean we're not at war? We're shooting at each other. Nobody's declaring war. What, did he tell you that?
No, he didn't.
Well, if you said we're at war, you're wrong. You're starting to annoy me now, too, because you came with him. Okay? We're not. How do you know you're at war? Go ahead, say it. Go ahead, say it now, say it now. Oh, you declare war.
Right.
Has anybody declared war? We are Jacques. I love that word. Jacques. You didn't know I speak fluent French too, did you? Okay. You wait until I get into my southern. Y'all. So what happens, it means this. It means an insurrection or revolt by who? Peasants. How did the king look at us? We're not second class, we're third class citizens because we're in the Americas. The rest of them lived over in England. Now, but we're in the Americas, out of sight, out of mind. And that's this guy's philosophy against the ruling class. We did not want to anger the king. Okay? So we don't say this is against the king. We're going to rephrase this a little bit later on. Okay? We said we're mad at Parliament for not allowing us to come in. We don't want to blame the king because that's now isolating a single person and not a whole group of people in this. Okay? We knew we were at war. They knew we were at war, but nobody's declared war. Okay? And the only county that has fired a shot is what county? Massachusetts. We don't want this a war from the north only. We want this involvement to be all 13 counties because we know we're going to need this. So what occurs is a person, actually in this case it's going to be two A-persons, are going to write a charter that says, it's called the Declaration of Causes and Necessity to Taking Up Arms. That's a whole paragraph. But it's saying why we had to use weapons in it. And it was written by two guys, Thomas Jefferson and a man by the name of John Dickinson. John Dickinson is the wealthiest man in the United States at this point in time, lives in Philadelphia, owns half of Pennsylvania and Maryland. They write this letter on July the 6th, saying to the king, hey, look it, we're not at war. We're not at war. So don't even think that. We're mad at Parliament. And Parliament has made us take up arms. Not you, but Parliament. Okay? Unbeknownst to everybody else, on July the 5th, Dickinson had sent another letter to the king. And this is called the Olive Branch Petition. And in the Olive Branch Petition, what he says is, hey, we love you. You're our friend. We like you a lot. And you guys kind of made us do this. But if you say you're going to change your ways, we'll come back to you as loyal citizens, which we are of our king. And the rest of the the First Continental Congress didn't know a thing about him sending this thing over. Okay? It gets over to England, 6 weeks later. They present it to the king. The king takes it, crumbles it up, throws it on the floor, and says, I'm not going to read it. As far as I'm concerned, there's an act of rebellion going on over in the colonies, and we are a state of war. Had we declared war? Did the king declare war? No. He said we were. He didn't say we are. Big difference, big difference. You know, immediately after that, a guy by the name of Benedict Arnold, who may or may not be America's biggest traitor, but may not be, but history says he is, hooks up with a guy from Vermont named Ethan Allen, not the furniture maker, but Ethan Allen, the patriot of Vermont, who's got statues of him everywhere. And do you know who Ethan Allen really was? He was Alibaba and the 40 Thieves. He was a highway robber. He tried robbing Benedict Arnold on the way with his army on the way to Fort Ticonderoga. He says, give me your money. So we haven't got any money. Well, you got to give me something. He said, if you help us take Fort Ticonderoga, you can have the payroll. And he goes, I'm a patriot. And he goes over with him. Okay? History is not history unless it's the truth. On June the 7th, 1776, 3 days before my birthday, because that's about the time I came around, they had a meeting of now the Second Continental Congress, which is just as illegal as the First Continental Congress. Why the king never sent troops in to disband this thing, I don't know. By the second, we've created an army. We have no soldiers. We created a navy. We haven't got any ships. We don't have a general leading an army that hasn't got any guys. But they created a post office. Probably about as effective as the current one we have in 2026, but we have a post office. We know that. And he introduces a bill to the Second Continental Congress. And it's called this is going to be a tough one, the Lee Resolution. Okay, because it's named after him, correct? In it, he says this, very good words, that these united colonies are and ought to be free, independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance from the British Crown, and that all political connection between America and the state of Great Britain
Is and ought.
yeah, see, I'm getting nothing but a glare, is and ought to be totally, next time, why don't you just read it for me? Okay, is and ought to be dissolved. For the first time since we become a jacquerie, we are now talking about maybe we need to split from the king, okay, in Great Britain. It was motion made and approved unanimously by all 56 delegates at this convention, from Massachusetts all the way to Georgia, okay? All right. That's good. He had a brother. You guys know his brother? He's Light Horse Harry Lee. His name is Francis Light Horse. He was a dragoon commander called Light Horse Harry. He ran a plantation, like most of these guys did, tobacco, had quite a few slaves. He was known for one thing during the Revolutionary War. Anybody want to take a guess what he was known for in the Revolutionary War? I'll bet you my next paycheck from Cougar Community College. Every time I say that, I get a stipend from Cougar Community College. He was known for cutting the heads off of captured British officers and sending them to George Washington. Wait a minute. Amazon shows up at your house. You shake the box. What's in the box? Oh, it's Sir Bristol. He was known for cutting the heads off commanders and sending them to George Washington. George Washington is already an accused war criminal from the French and Indian War. He's going to be an accused war criminal from the Revolutionary War for a thing that happens over in Seneca County. What's that? Anybody know? Cougar in Seneca County. Say what? The Sullivan the Sullivan campaign, where he says, use the bayonet in terror and inflict it upon the natives and take no prisoners. That's not a good order, okay? He has a son. He has a son. Who will ultimately become the lead commander of all Southern forces, albeit late in the war. But the reason he joins the Confederacy, one of the reasons, is he won't leave his state of Virginia. But those states that joined the Confederacy did so on the basis authorized and stated in a document. What's that a document? Say the Declaration of Independence. Say the Declaration of Independence. Oh my God. Am I in my other language now, or am I still speaking English here? Okay. It's I'm going to show you just exactly what it says here when we get to it in just a few seconds. Okay? On June 10th, my birthday, so remember that, the Continental Congress appoints a committee of 5 to come up with a small d Declaration of Independence. Not the Declaration of Independence, but a Declaration of Independence. And the 5 guys that do it, the first one is Thomas Jefferson. The second one is going to be, he's from Virginia. The second one is going to be, where's Adams from? Well, just outside of Boston, correct, just outside of Boston. Massachusetts. The third one's going to be Ben Franklin. He's not a politician. He's something else that I can't say in mixed company. Okay? You guys know the history of Benjamin Franklin? It's shaky. It's really shaky. The Second Continental Congress assigned 2 bodyguards to Ben Franklin, 24 hours a day. You know what their job was? To not let him drink at night and talk away the secrets. Okay? If you go to London, if you went to London with me when I was teaching over there, we go to Ben Franklin's house. A sewer line broke in the house. So construction workers came in, went down in the basement, and they're tearing up the concrete, and they're going, no, there's bones. Oh my God, there's a lot of bones. Oh, Jesus, look at all the bones. The guy next door is called the father of modern autopsy, but it was illegal to take bodies. So they think who was taking the bodies, not the autopsy guy, but I love history. The fourth guy is Livingston. Okay? Where's he from?
New York.
Yeah, you got it. We named a county after him. The kid said to me, what's the name of that county? Chautauqua. And the fifth guy's name's Roger Sherman. Roger Sherman was about as wealthy as John Dickinson. What Dickinson didn't know and Sherman did. Okay, extremely, extremely wealthy guys. But they put Jefferson in charge of the whole thing. They said, you're going to be the lead writer. And the other 4 guys are going to be script writers. You're going to help him whenever he gets a brain freeze. So somewhere around June 11th, he rents a room on the 3rd floor of a hotel, and he locks himself in. And he starts writing. And anytime he gets into a problem, he gets on the phone, calls up Adams and the boys, and they show up, and they help him in writing. But what occurs is this. He wants it written this way, and this man wants it written that way. He wants the writing to be political. And he says, you can't do it. You can't. This isn't political. This is far beyond political. Oh, he wants it political. Jefferson wants it spiritual, scientific. Adams can't wrap his head around that theory. And when Adams questions Jefferson, Jefferson says, we can't create this document as men. We need help from above, spiritual. It's got to be a scientific approach to it. And it winds up being written in the scientific approach, and somebody takes a real burning to that. Who would be that man? No, not Franklin. Franklin didn't care. He's okay. Adams gets a little PO'd over that whole thing. And a couple years later, this, after, who's our first president of the United States? Yeah, we all know that, right? Who's second? Adams. Beats out who? Jefferson. Who's our third? Jefferson. Adams goes, I was elected before you. They start hating each other. And they hated each other for almost the entire rest of their lives. They kind of made up later. They started writing letters, but they weren't known for hanging out with each other, slapping each other on the back as buddies. But they hated each other for years. They hated each other for years. Jefferson will write 86 changes. This is a copy of one of his drafts. And you can see in his own penmanship here how many times he does. How do we know this happened? Because in the National Archives is this painting. What do you see on the floor? Okay. There's probably some words in between I'm going to leave out. Okay. Jefferson does it with the language of scientists. How many of you guys, if you're going to write a paper, how many of your students and your former students are going to write a paper based upon the language of scientists? I have a good answer for you. That's none. Okay. AI might do it for you, but they're not going to do it on their own because who talks that way now? Nobody does. That's a dead language. That's truly a dead language. All right. On July on July the 2nd, they have all 56 delegates in attendance, and they do a vote, which passes. There goes my top. Excuse me. Paul, that's not water. Looks like water. But it wasn't for the Declaration of Independence. They're voting on the Lee Resolution. They're voting on the Lee Resolution. New York, after they vote, go, no, time, we're going to abstain. We're not going to vote for it. Because we're afraid if they do, we're going to go to war. And the governor of New York says we can't vote on it. Okay, so we're going to go back to New York and see what he says, if we can vote for this or not. Okay, well, they do. On July the 4th, all 56 delegates are still there. And they bring now forward the, capital D, Declaration of Independence. Okay? It's voted on and approved. But it's not unanimous. It is not a unanimous decision. There's 9 delegates who were dead against this thing. New York was the lead. New York is the lead. Okay? And in doing so, they direct the president of the Continental Congress, who is who? Very good. I told you. You're not listening to me. Okay, you can say it, because you're not on my list yet. You can try. Who's John Hancock? You guys know who John Hancock? Not the insurance guy. What was he?
Smuggler.
He's a smuggler. John Hancock is a felon. He's a smuggler. You guys all hear of a thing called the Boston Tea Party? You all know about y'all. Well, they had it down in Georgia. Okay. What happened on the night of the Boston Tea Party? They dressed up as, oh, what kind of Indians? Mohawks. Do you think anybody from Boston, Massachusetts ever saw a Mohawk Indian? It's 592 miles from the reservation over to Boston, okay? They didn't get on the internet and say, hey, what kind of Indians are going to be? Oh, look, these are a good picture right here. Let's dress up as Mohawks. And it was in December. Outside of being a Buffalo Bills fan who goes topless in the stadium during a playoff game, everybody else has enough common sense to wear what? Clothes, okay? You know whose tea they threw over? You can say it now. No. John Hancock's. John Hancock organized it, and whose tea did they throw out? Because he had just smuggled it in 2 days before, and the British repealed the tea tax. Now he's got to pay taxes on this thing. Well, hey, I'll do an insurance fraud instead. Come on over and dump this thing in the bay. See, but doesn't it sound better that they're dressed as Mohawks and we did it in the name of patriotism. It's just true. Only Hancock will sign, only Hancock, I can't say this enough times, only Hancock will sign the Declaration of Independence. Right? What do you know about John Hancock's signature? It's what? It's very large, but why? Why is it very large? Come on. What were you taught? Huh?
Fat George?
Not Fat George. Okay, it was actually, I can tell you what it is. It's John Bull. That's what they called him. So John Bull could read Hancock's signature without his... Yeah, that's not the reason at all. You got one guy signing it. Is he going to put this little number 6 font, microscopic thing that the Hubble Space Telescope won't be able to read? Or is he going to put something down there, John Hancock, right? If you're going to have just one signature, it should be a good one, right? Okay. Well, see, history's perverted that, and they've changed it. Give me a minute here or two for this thing. I'll tell you why. The day they approved this, you good people in this room all became, you weren't citizens yet because we haven't won the war. But you're now obligated to this new government that we are leaning towards. And this declaration is called a contract theory of government. That's the name of it. It's a contract theory of government. And there's 2 parts to this. And the first is it's a government created by humans to protect certain rights. Anybody want to argue that one? I think that's absolutely spot on true. It's a government created by who? Us, to protect our... And when they said, well, what's our rights? They go, well, we don't really know because we haven't written a constitution yet. But when we write one in about 12 years, we'll tell you what it is. But for right now, it's to protect our rights. And the second thing is, everybody in this room, I know, obeys this one, that you are obligated to obey the government. You are obligated to obey the government. I spent 27 years in law enforcement. Did I ever encounter people who didn't obey the government? Which day? Okay. This is income tax time, right? Okay. Robin, did you and your husband change a couple things on your income tax returns? Oh, no, not me. Oh, no. No, I wouldn't do something like that. Do we? Do you? There's a whole bunch of things. I think we're at a point, not to be political, I'm not. The past 30, 40 years, we're obeying the government less and less and less and less and less and less, okay? But the Declaration says we're obligated to do it. So on August the 2nd, after they sent it off to the printers, they brought it back, and Hancock sends it back again. And he says, what you have to do is put the word unanimous in. Was it unanimous? No. But now they're going to have these guys, and it says right on it. It says right in, what's that first line right there? The unanimous. Was it? No, it was majority rule. Which sounds better? The majority rule document or the unanimous one? So when he does, Hancock does what? Big signature. And then he says this, and this is where you guys come in with your statement. History says that when he signed it, he goes, there, John Bull can read my name without spectacles. He may double his reward, and I put his at defiance. There's an issue here. The Declaration of Independence was never intended to leave the continental U.S. would the King of England ever seen his signature? Only if he came over here to read it. Okay? It was never intended to, it's going to say here of us. It's going to be the basis of our new government. Why would we send it to the king? It's the basis of our government. So he never said this. This is all nonsense. What he did do, he said this. New Hampshire would be the first to sign it. There's New Hampshire right here. Okay, those first names. And then and it says, and then we're going to go down the coast. And right below, here's John Adams, here's Massachusetts. And they go right down, here's Hopkins, down in Pennsylvania, New Jersey. You know, New Jersey, you know, who's the governor in New Jersey? Anybody have an idea? Franklin. Say what? Franklin's son, who was a loyalist, he was on the king's side. So Ben never talked to his son ever again after that. And then when they ran out of room, then they start going, and that's how this thing goes across. Okay, I'm sorry. You can research 3 or 4 different official U.S. document websites. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to get 3 or 4 different answers. The official stance by the United States government is that all 56 were there and all 56 signed. Well, they didn't. We know this for a fact. So then there's another website by the United States government that says, well, 50 signed. But the people who were there, the recording secretary, a man by the name of Thompson, Thomson, says 34 signed. Who would know better? He's the recording secretary. He's the recording secretary. John Adams, he says they signed it on July the 2nd. They didn't. They signed that Lee one. He doesn't even know what day they signed it, if he signed it, okay? And here's another one of these paintings that's no longer any good. This is down in the National Archives. This is to represent the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And the fact of the matter is, it wasn't quite like this at all, but it looks good. These 9 guys didn't sign it. These 9 guys right here didn't sign it, including Livingston, Cattaraugus County is named after. Okay? New York completely abstained because, once again, the governor said, you can't do it. Matter of fact, get back here to New York. So Livingston, who wants to sign it, before he meets the governor, calls up his cousin, Philip. Said, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Go down to Philadelphia and sign a piece of paper for me. What am I going to sign? Don't worry about it. He gets down to Philadelphia and they go, here, sign this Declaration of Independence. You're going to be one of the 56 most highly respected men in the universe. How much time did he have in putting this thing together? None. But his name's the one who appears on it and not John. The last guy signed in January 1777. Okay, man named Thomas McKean from Delaware. Is the United States accurate in their reporting on how many people signed it on that day? No, not even close. But there was a second signature on there, and it's the recording secretary. It's this guy. His name is Thompson. He was considered the most honest man in the Americas. And the documents say that if his name was on it, you know it's true. He essentially ran the country. He'll get Alzheimer's later in life, and Thomas Jefferson will say, he hasn't got the life of a cabbage. But he creates a thing called the Great Seal. None of my students today, because this is what we're doing today in class, knew what the Great Seal is. Anybody know what the Great Seal is? The Great Seal. You went, it's right here?
Oh, it's Great Seal of the United States.
Well, what is it? Boy, that's such a good explanation. I love that. Put that in an exam. That's what he drew. This is what he drew. Okay? There's a story, here's pseudo-history. What did Ben Franklin want for our national bird? He never said that. But again, it sounds good, doesn't it? This is an eagle, right? That's an eagle? Well, that's not showing up. Say what? I heard somebody utter something. Don't keep doing this to me. Am I hearing voices? Yeah, probably. Well, this is what it is today. This is our Great Seal. And if you look at the Great Seal, it's not much difference, but that bird certainly is a lot different. The bird on the right is an vulture, okay? An eagle, right? What's the bird on the left? It's got that tuft on the back of the head. Say what? A woodpecker. Tom, get him out of the room, will you please? What bird umbilical rose from the ashes? The phoenix, right? We are saying we have risen from the ashes, nothing, with the king to maybe something. How many stars? There's going to be a tough one. Whew. How many stripes? Some of you are going, 1, 2. I said, what's on the left? And the kid said this morning, mistletoe. I said, you're close. Okay. There's not a lot of kissing going on underneath that. How many leaves? 13. How many berries? Are you guys getting an idea here on this number? Okay. What's in his left talon? A quiver of arrows. Here's the toughest question so far to date. How many arrows? 13. Okay. The eagle, under United States law, is always to look towards, don't say his right. It'll be like a Three Stooges routine, okay? To his what? At what?
Peace.
The feet?
Peace.
Peace. Well, I thought you said, Jesus. I guess I got to get hearing aids here. Anybody know what this place is? Ow. I'm going to have to stop walking around, so I hope you guys don't think it rude, but my knees just went back to Owasco. They're not liking me right now. I've been to this building 15 times. I used to teach in London. I was honored and blessed with that. Anybody know what this building is? It's not in use anymore. But what's on top?
Eagle.
An eagle. That's the United States Embassy. It is in the most expensive quadrant of London, which is the most expensive city in the world. Okay. Trust me, I know. I bought stuff over there. Okay? Which way is the eagle looking? Uh-oh. Showed up. He's looking to his left. Why is he looking to the left? Because right here, say what?
Built during World War II?
It was built right around then, because right over here is Dwight David Eisenhower's war cabinet house. Who's the eagle looking at? Him, because of, you just said it, because the 4 upper floors, the average temperature was anywhere between 90 and 95. You go in there, it was just a sweat box. I was blessed with entry. They only allowed 1 tour in this place from the entire United States, and it was mine. And I thought that was absolutely, I took my students in there every single year. The new one they just built cost $8.1 billion, and is down around the corner. Okay?
So this isn't used for anything anymore?
Oh, God, yes, it is. Say, well, what's it used for, John?
What is it used for?
I'm glad you asked me that. There's the eagle. Okay, that's a picture I took showing a close-up. And you see, yeah, PowerPoint. Yeah, okay, I got it. It's a hotel. It's called the Chancellery Rosewood. And if anybody wants to go there for the low, low price of $31,948.82 a night, you can take that room. My first house cost less than that. Okay? $31,000 for a room because it's in the most expensive part of the most expensive city. Knowing that, how much did it cost the United States for rent on this property? Give me a figure. Somebody say something. Oh, what? Are you insane? Come on, somebody.
Zero. Oh, one finger.
Not a finger. What is that? What's that little black thing in his hand? It's a peppercorn. Every year, the American ambassador would go and give the owner, Sir somebody, 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 a peppercorn. And that was the rent. And we didn't like that. We didn't think that was a good deal. So we built one for $8.1 billion instead down the road. A peppercorn. What's the Declaration have? I'm going to move along here. It's got a thing called an opening assumption. And the opening assumption is all men are created equal. Let's not go there. Two premises. The government has the right. People will protect their rights. And there's a whole list of charges against the king. The king did this, the king did this, the king did this. Followed by a thing called a powerful conclusion. And here's what starts a little problem in 1861. It says Americans can overthrow current rule and replace it. Americans can overthrow current rule and replace it. What does that mean? Huh?
Confederacy.
What did the Confederacy say? You weren't protecting our rights, which you're obligated to. And Thomas Jefferson, you said in your own paper, we can overthrow current rule and replace it. The Declaration of Independence, I hate to throw salt in the wound, was plagiarized. 1,000% plagiarized. Plagiarism in college, what happens? If I catch you, a student, I throw you out. You get an F and you're thrown out of college. But in 1770 America, up to the 1800s, it was an honor to plagiarize. Okay? It was an absolute honor to the person who they're plagiarizing. Who did these guys plagiarize? They plagiarized a guy by the name of King John, and they said he was a bad guy. I don't know how you could possibly think that with a name like that, but he's a bad guy. And you know, King John, he's the guy that Robin Hood fights, you know, get the rich, get the poor, all that good stuff. But they made him sign a document called the Magna Carta. The Magna Carta consists of an opening assumption, a list of grievances, and a powerful conclusion. Is there a mirror between these two documents? Huge, 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 huge. All right. What were they thinking in 1776 when they wrote this? They thought these four things. They said, we are based upon equality, unalienable rights, the consent of the governed, and the right to alter or abolish government. The right to alter or abolish government. It says right in the thing, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. All men are created equal. Jefferson says that these rights that they're talking about are not something you normally think of. It's a gift from God. So meaning the day you are born with certain rights. Okay? You're not told what it is, but you have these rights. And when they mean by the powers of the consent of the governed, it means that we, in 1776, are allowing you to act on our behalf. The gods are angry. We are allowing you to act on our behalf to come up with our representation. Okay? Jefferson said, I didn't mean all men are created equal. What did Jefferson say? All men are created equal. Who did he mean when he said that? Say what? Not all white men. You had to own property. If you were an indentured servant, it didn't count. He goes, I didn't even mean that. What I meant is all you guys are equal as far as government to be in government. Wait a minute, hold it. Were we going to elect an African American in 1777 to anything? No offense, ladies, were we going to elect a female to anything? Uh, 1911. Okay, we're not. We don't do it. Women didn't have the right to vote until when? Yeah, 1920. Okay. He says that what this means is when we create this government, they will be separate and equal. Meaning he did not think that blacks should cohabitate with whites. And I don't mean in a amorous relationship. I mean on this planet. Blacks should not be with whites. And they say, well, that's not possibly true. Well, it's absolutely true because he writes in the Virginia legislature, this is what he says, right in the Virginia letter, that African Americans should be freed but sent back to Africa. Give them their freedom, but there's the boat. Get out and be gone. Okay? Does he say that anywhere? Well, he did right there. He quoted it because Roman history, when they would free a slave, that slave was sent back to the country they were brought from. And he says we should do the exact same thing. When freed, he is to be removed beyond the reach of mixture. He did not think the races should mix. He said it would never get along. Okay? Ooh, here's a conundrum. Anybody know who this young lady is? Sally Hemings. Who does not know who Sally Hemings is? Don't be afraid. I know there's a couple of you. Great. She's African American. She was 14 years old, a slave on the Jefferson plantation. They think her father was Thomas Jefferson's father. At least that's what the cover-up is. They think it's his, and I think it was. His Jefferson's father probably was her father too, but you can't admit to it. Jefferson is now the ambassador to France. His wife just dies. They have 2 small children. Sally's 14 years old. He says, you're going to be the nanny for these kids. They load her on the boat and they go to Paris. They left with 2 children. They came back with 4 children. I guess they were on sale somewhere around the Louvre or whatever. Who's the mom? He's going to father 6 children with Sally. Total of 6 children. And he also is going to write that slavery is the fault of the British government. And then they go, hey, you can't say that. You're a slave owner. Yeah, let's strike that out. We better get that out of there. Okay? Because I am a slave owner. She will die. He has the body removed. And he says to the guys, just take her somewhere and bury her. I don't want to know where she is, but bury her at least 60 to 100 miles away from the house. They have no idea where she is. They have no idea where she's buried whatsoever. Okay? One other person, the United States president, wanted to deport all of the freed slaves to initially Colombia. They refused it. So he wanted to send them to Liberia on the African West Coast. Who is that president? Lincoln. Lincoln is known as the great emancipator. And Lincoln wrote, he wrote it right out. I got a copy of that thing he wrote. He said, they can't live together in the same country. We got to get them out of here. We got to send them away. So two of our most famous, who's the four guys on Mount Rushmore? Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln. Which one? TR, Bully. There was supposed to have been a fifth. Do you know that? No? There's a section between far right and the third that's broken out. The guy who made that monument was Gutzen Bolgorn, who was a member of the KKK. If you went to Gettysburg with me, you stopped off at the North Carolina monument. Who designed that monument? Gutzen Bolgorn, okay? And he was going to put a fifth person in. Nobody. From New York State. From Rochester, New York. Susan B. Anthony. He has a clay model that he made, and right there is Susan B. Anthony. And that's the section that collapsed. He goes, all right. And that's where all that rubble is down there. Okay? The Civil War got its basis from what document? Declaration of Independence. Okay? I told you plagiarized it. John Adams is going to write a letter in 1818 saying the fact that, what do we mean by the American Revolution? Well, the American Revolution wasn't a war issue. The American Revolution was in our minds. Something we always wanted to do, and it was just the actions of a few brave men and on Lexington Green that we were able to carry this through. And I'm going to skip this one because I got to do this with the Daughters of the American Revolution on Saturday. These two guys got one more thing in common. I got 3 slides left. These two guys have got one more thing in common. Anybody know what it is? Both died on July the 4th. Who died first?
Adams.
Well,
Jefferson's still.
Adams, when he died, his last words were, Jefferson lives. So I kind of think, he doesn't like that. And they sent delegates from Adams down to see Jefferson, and they found each other in a Philadelphia bar. And he goes, hey, don't you work for Jefferson? He goes, yeah, I got bad news. Don't you work for Adams? Yeah, I got bad news too. And they go, what? And they go, you first. And they said, Jefferson died. When? Yesterday, day before. He goes, geez, so did Adams. And the Adams guy says, what time did Jefferson die? He said in the morning. And the guy went, yes! Adams lives. What would happen if these guys, these founding fathers who signed this, if the thing had failed? There was a punishment they would have gotten. And the punishment is called to be hung, drawn, and quartered. Do you guys know what that means?
Yes.
No. It means that you are hung by the neck until you're almost dead, and they cut you down. And they lay on your back, they hold you down, they take a very hot knife, and right at the navel, they cut you up to your breastplate. And then they take your stomach out and set it on top and set it on fire. If that's not, who the hell thinks this stuff up? And then quartered, which means they cut your arms and legs off, they cut the head off, they put the head on a pike pole, and they take the arms and the legs to the 4 corners of the British Empire. Braveheart. You guys remember Braveheart? Some of you were probably live back then. Braveheart. That's what happened to him. But I can tell you right now, there's a really great pub in London that I went into strictly for historical reasoning, because it's called the Hung, Drawn, and Quartered. And I got 2 T-shirts and a mug out of that thing, strictly for historical reasons. It's right outside of Tower Hill. where they used to, everybody's had around 250,000 people were executed there. When I was teaching over there, I got the very great fortune to meet this man. This man is Sir Thomas Hooper. He is an Order of the British Empire, which means the Queen bestows this on him. It's just below a lord, okay? It's for civilians. He's England's leading tour guide. And we 15 years, he was my head tour guide. And we read him for 2 or 3 times because we couldn't afford him any more than that. And one year he says, hey, I got to leave early. I can't hang around with you anymore. I got to go. And I said, well, that's pretty rude. You knew I've been coming here for a year. He goes, yeah, but I got a phone call night before last. I got to fly to Egypt. I said, why? He said, Zawi Hawass. You guys know who Zawi Hawass is? He's the head of Egyptian antiquities. He's the only guy allowed to open Tutankhamun's tomb. The only guy. Hey, come on down here. We're going to open up a new tomb. I said, well, that's ballsy on you to leave me for somebody like that. So we kept hounding him, and then finally one year, this is my daughter who went on the tour. This is my oldest daughter, this is Jolene. And that's Tom showing his medal. Okay, so it really did exist. We called him a liar. But every year he would send me a card on July the 4th. And he would say, Happy Treason Day. Okay? And then the last year I saw him, this is what I got. Happy treason, you ungrateful colonials. Thank you. Thank you.